Hello, everyone. I'm Melissa Dudan. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Trending Vegas. So, we are continuing to do our part of social distancing here at the city of Las Vegas. So, we're bringing you part of Trending Vegas virtually. Natasha Shahani and Jace Radke from our communications office are joining us from their home and their office upstairs. How are you guys?
Good.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. All right. Well, we're glad you guys could join me today. So, we have a lot of really hot topics we have to get to. But first, in seriousness, we want to extend our condolences to the family of Sheldon Adelson, who passed away. A lot of outpouring of support on social media, a person with enormous impact here in Southern Nevada. So he was featured in the New York Times today. Just a lot of people saying what an impact he made. What are you guys seeing on social? Natasha?
Well, Jace help send out a statement for the mayor, so I'll let him kind of touch on that. But we're seeing a lot of the same things, big news stories. It was breaking news really early this morning, and since then it's been articles and tweets. This week is CES, and even though they're doing it virtually this year, he was the one who helped bring it to Las Vegas. So as far as timing goes, just to see the impact that he's left on Las Vegas this week, if in person would have showed it to you. And I think people are just sharing what they feel about him and their thankfulness, as well as like the properties he brought to Las Vegas. So he'll definitely be missed, but I know the mayor had some thoughts to share, and I'll let Jace kind of share those.
Okay, Jace?
Yeah, the mayor put out a statement this morning or early the morning that Mr. Adelson passed away. And she basically just talked about what Natasha said, that, he was kind of a person that brought some new things to Las Vegas, be it conventions, building his hotel empire, but also people don't know how much of a philanthropist he was, and that he gave a lot to charities and the people in Las Vegas through things like the Adelson Hospice and those kind of things. So just you've seen an outpouring of people on social, some positive, some negative, and that's what you get on social. But the mayor and most of the things I've seen have been positive remembrances.
Yeah, he passed away at 87 years old from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It's really interesting. He got a lot of credit this morning for, during the pandemic, really taking care of his employees, making sure they had their benefits and helping them during this pandemic time. So our condolences to his wife and to everybody who knew him and were friends and family of his. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get on with our next trending topic, and that is the Capitol riots that took place in D.C. last week. We're taping this before the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden, so keep in mind that a lot can happen between now and then. But here's a look at some of the social media from the past couple of weeks. I located a moment where a man with a backpack throws a fire extinguisher during the attack on the Capitol. I'm not certain this is the moment Officer Sicknick was fatally struck, but it is worth examining. And then we have this video breaking. No, this is not a third world country. This is the United States Capitol. Demonstrators are occupying Capitol Hill. Then there is this. This man broke into the office of Speaker Nancy Pelosi and put his feet up on her desk. Give me his name. And the pictures and the videos just go on and on and on. And I have to say that I had a really hard time weeding through all of the videos and photos from that event, because there was so much cussing, there was so much hatred, there was so much violence. There wasn't even a video on social media of the woman being shot, and someone showed her body lying on the floor. So it was just really unbelievable that these were the images that were coming to us, not only in our televisions but also across our social media apps throughout that day. What are you guys seeing on social? Jace, I'll start with you.
I just thought it was a real interesting look. I mean, it was a horrifying event, but it was an interesting look at social media and an event like that, because you had people who were storming the Capitol, breaking windows, breaking down doors, and streaming what they were doing on their social media channels. And I just think that's an interesting psychological thing where, people are used to being on their phones at their house and tweeting or Facebooking or Instagramming whatever they like with no consequences. And now we're seeing the authorities are using those posts that these people put out there to track them down, and they are going to face some consequences. So just really, really an interesting situation.
Yeah, it really was interesting to me because the social media that they were so proudly showing is being used against them right now. Natasha, what are you saying?
Well, on a follow up to that note, people are using social media and there are now accounts. I saw at least one Instagram account that they're identifying all of the people. So they're taking screenshots, they're using their Instagram following to help identify them. And once they've been identified, then they post the same photo with like a word on it, like identified, and in the caption, all of the details they know about that person. So I think people are also making it a lot easier for the FBI to track down these people because, it was such an alarming thing to see. And it was like you couldn't turn away from it. And I think that was how a majority of people felt like. And then there were people who were like, okay, I'm going to help identify people and started to do that. And social media is helping with that as well. From a social media standpoint that day with monitoring, we were in council meeting. And so council ended at around 11:30 our time. And we get back and it was just like we were in a hole, because it was like, what is going on? And then there were protests downtown. And I think what we've seen recently, at least in the last 24 hours, are warnings to the entire nation that more events like this are planned for the next few weeks. So yes, we're taping this before the inauguration, but that is already getting red flags from a security level on a national level to be careful because there are rumored events to be happening at all of the state capitals between now and the inauguration.
For me, with what happened in DC, it was really a wake up call for me. I asked myself a lot, is this a real video? Is this an altered video? How much of this is true? How much of it is not true? And I think that's where, you go to the source. Who is this source? Where is it coming from? Because there were some videos out there that could have been altered, may not have been altered, but I thought it was very revealing. There's a very popular video of some Capitol police officers opening the gates and letting the crowd in, and you just sit there and go, wow, I'm sure no one thought that someone would be recording that on their phone, but that is the day and age we live in right now. So I think it's very interesting. I am a little nervous about what the next few weeks hold for us as a country, but I guess we will see. Natasha, just your thoughts, what are your thoughts on Twitter and then banning President Trump indefinitely?
So I have mixed feelings on that. At first, everyone has been asking for years, like, just ban his account, just ban his account. And now that they do, like, a lot of people are having conversations about, do these companies have the authority to do that? I think my instinct to that is like, yes, because you agree to like privacy terms of agreement and usage agreements. But then some people are also using that as like, well, if you're going to block him, here are 100 other people that you can block for the same types of reasons. And then other people are also bringing up like, I purposely follow people who don't have the same viewpoints as myself to not get stuck in an echo chamber of people who just think like me. Mm-hmm. So, I think there's a lot of conversation about this. I don't know how to feel anymore personally, but those are all of the three sides I'm kind of seeing of like, yes, this is great. No, this is not good because, the world needs to have differing opinions and being able to have a conversation. And then the argument of like, well, don't just stop with him. There's lots more people that we can send your way, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
I mean, I think that is an excellent point. And I think when he was banned, it made me go, well, I mean, I see so many other people that incite violence or are allegedly inciting violence, as I should say, and what is happening to them.
It's just interesting because people are so used to using these things every day on their phones. It's like a part of your life. It's like watching TV or getting a hamburger somewhere, and so people get this false sense of security that they can post or do what they want with no repercussions, or that there's a false sense that this stuff's going to be there forever for them to use. So it'll definitely be interesting to see which direction it goes.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Another hot topic is the vaccination rollout here in Nevada. Here is this tweet from KXNT News Radio. Sisolak blames federal government for the slow pace of coronavirus vaccinations in Nevada. Now, here's this tweet from the governor. We are no longer using the tiered approach and have updated the playbook to streamline and simplify prioritization. Frontline essential workforce categories are now prioritized in buckets from public safety and security to frontline community support, supply chain and logistics, and more. And finally, Megan Messerly writes, this will be in my vaccine Q&A tomorrow, but the folks at Immunize Nevada are also encouraging people to fill out this COVID-19 vaccine interest form. The goal is that based on your answers, you will be notified when it's your turn to get the vaccine. So a lot of people here in Nevada really upset with how the rollout is going. And I have to say, I have not been keeping on top of it daily as to how the rollout is going, but I have to the fact that I don't know exactly what's going or where do I send people to put these interest forms or to ask questions, it's a little alarming. But what kind of questions are you guys fielding right now? I'm sure the city of Las Vegas is getting tons of questions about what to do.
Yeah, especially after yesterday. In the last week, there have been articles that come out. The state does a press call Monday, Wednesday, and Friday every week. And so the vaccine is discussed a lot. And a lot of questions have started arising from what the CDC says our allocation numbers are to how many doses are actually being given out and administered and the reporting that goes behind it. So it is a very complicated process. It's even complicated to explain and listen to about when they are talking about these things. But we're getting all of the same questions you mentioned. When is it my turn? Why has it been decided like this? I want to get one. How can I get one? Where can I get one? So I think there's a lot of learning we have to do together as a state and as a nation. Because I think, from a federal level, I know the state is having issues too, because nothing is guaranteed. You don't know when the vaccines are coming, from the day they arrive, how long are you going to take to distribute them to everywhere they need to go? Then they only last so much longer after that. So there's a lot of timelines involved. And unless everyone is aligned, it's kind of hard to get it together. But we're really hoping to be able to continue to be a source for people to come to with questions. We're directing people to the playbook right now. We're hoping to talk to some officials on our social media sites later this month to get more information out on the vaccine and to hopefully answer people's questions that I know they have.
Right. And it is our job in the communications office to get you all that information as soon as we get it, as soon as we can give you verified information on where to go, who to call, who to seek out, we will give that information to you all. Jace, what are you seeing or dealing with?
Yeah, a lot of questions, especially from senior citizens. They know that they are in a group that should be getting it first. And I think that they're anxious to get it, a lot of them. And, I know that our compatriots at the state level and at the health district are working on it. And I think that they would just ask for people to be a little patient. But I can understand the frustration, because you see, like in LA, they have plans to roll out the vaccine and they're going to use big forums to do it. Disneyland and Dodger Stadium, I saw, are both going to be vaccination sites. So you could understand how some people feel like, oh, California's ahead of Nevada in this, and maybe they are in some places, but I think people should look back to when the testing rolled out. There were some bumps in the road there, but after it got up and going, everybody who wanted to get tests could get tests. So hopefully we'll see that here soon as well.
It'll be interesting. And again, you can count on the city to bring you the information that we know as soon as we know it. I want to talk about the mitigation efforts by the state, because the governor also announced that we're going to go ahead and extend that for another 30 days. And I feel I'm not surprised by it, especially our numbers are still high. But man, I start to think about these businesses and I start to think about the restaurants working at 25% occupancy. And it's heartbreaking. These restaurants are saying, we can't do this for much longer. I know several restaurants in town, restaurant owners who have decided to close their doors for a few weeks just to save on costs. What are you guys seeing in terms of replies or social media when it comes to the mitigation efforts?
I'm seeing my waistline expand because I'm trying to eat at as many of those restaurants as I can because I'm like, I want to do my part and help out those restaurants, but I've definitely put on the COVID-10 because of that. But it's just, I think it's people get used to the new normal, and this has been the new normal for a while now, the 25%, and looks like we have to tough it out for another 30 days. And you watch those numbers every day, the numbers come out and you're like, please go down so that we can, get back to 50%.
Right, absolutely. Natasha?
On social, we're seeing a lot of both sides, people who agree with it and people who are like, when are you going to open this up? We are an industry that relies heavily on the tourism business, on hospitality. A lot of our jobs come from restaurants and bars. And so there's a lot of hesitancy, there's a lot of anger, but there is also support. I think one of the biggest questions we're seeing is, why are we so locked down, but you're still allowing people from other states to come in? Which has been a question that we've consistently gotten on social since we really have never had any travel restrictions. So I think that'll be a question we continue to see as we work through COVID.
Absolutely. I know that is a question that I get all the time from people as well. So I don't have the answer to that. I just know that we need our tourism industry. We need our hospitality workers back to work. So we also need everyone safe. So it's really a no-win situation, no matter which way you go. So, all right, guys. Finally, the topic I want to discuss. Let's talk about the State of the City address. The mayor just wrapped hers up a couple of weeks ago. It was virtual, of course. And how was the reception, Jace? You worked closely with the mayor on this. It was different. I worked with you to kind of put this virtual video together for everything, and it was different this year. So how was the reception to it all?
It's still a little tough to tell. I mean, there was a lot of media coverage of it, which that's good. And, people watched on this live stream on our social platforms as well as on KCLV Channel 2. So her message definitely got out there. But it's just very different not having the immediate reaction of a crowd of, 300 people or 400 people in the room who, laugh at the jokes and, applaud at the new businesses coming to town. So it was definitely a strange year, but KCLV did do a very good job, Milsa and your team, of adding in video, which I thought was great this year because people could see what she was talking about as she was talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did think it was interesting. I did talk to the city of Henderson recently, and Mayor March is getting ready to do her virtual State of the City address, and it's a different way that we're all having to communicate. And I wonder just how much longer we all are going to have to communicate like this. Natasha, you guys were monitoring the hashtag State of Vegas.
I want to thank
how
you
did
all
that
for
do?
joining me tonight.
From our standpoint,
God
it wasn't
bless you.
actually
And
very
God bless
different.
Las Vegas.
Usually we do live
And
tweet the
God
whole thing,
bless
which we
our
didn't do this
nation.
year because we weren't in a crowd and it was a video. But we did the same things we would normally. Besides that, we showed it on Facebook, we showed it on Twitter, we made the recording available, we did a recap blog post. So from our end, I think we got the same attention we would normally get because keep in mind, though there are 250 to 300 people in the audience, we're still streaming it every other year as well. So I think missing out on the reactions, just like Jay said, but from a social standpoint, it was kind of same as usual on our end.
All right, well, great job all around. And thank you guys for joining me today for our topics.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Well, we are still in the midst of the pandemic, as you heard me talk about, and we don't know when our kids are going to be going back to school full time, but there is help for families looking for a place to take their kids during the day while they go to work so their kids can virtual learn. When we come back, a deeper look at the Vegas Strong Academy. That's coming up.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He does the work of 2 jobs, but only gets paid for one. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Welcome back, everyone. The coronavirus pandemic has put a huge strain on parents who are having to juggle work with virtual school. The city of Las Vegas did step up to help with the creation of our Vegas Strong Academy, and we are happy to say we have officially started semester 2. To tell us more about the program and how to register, I'm joined by Lori Lopez-Priest with Youth Development and Social Innovation. Thanks so much for joining us.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So Vegas Strong Academy was just a huge help for so many families in our area.
Absolutely.
So tell us, for those who don't know, what is Vegas Strong Academy and how did the first semester go?
Okay. Vegas Strong Academy is a full-day in-person childcare programming that really focuses on virtual learning support. We also offer some enrichment activities, recreational, food support, but it's really here to support working parents and find a safe place for kids to go during the school day so that they can have virtual learning support since the schools are closed.
That has got to be so hard just because I am a mother, so I know the virtual school compared to other kids that are in the same predicament. Schedules are so varied from student to student. So what does a typical day look like for a student who is at the Vegas Strong Academy?
Yes, so a typical day can vary site to site. Obviously, as you mentioned, school schedules change. It's grades K through 8 at 9 of our sites, and then our 10th site offers K through 12th grade.
Oh, wow.
So obviously school schedules, it's all schools are open to it. So a typical day from about 6:30 a.m. to 8, we check kids in, check temperatures, make sure everyone has their masks on, get their workstations ready, give them a little bit of time to unwind, and then get their school supplies all cleaned. We're strictly following CDC guidelines and restrictions, so we're making sure that we're keeping the areas safe and sanitized. So then the school day starts about 8 and then it goes until 3:30. So it's virtual learning for that amount of time, 8 till about 3:30.
Kids are supposed to be bringing their own Chromebooks, or how
They
does that
are.
work?
They are, unless they don't have them. And then the library district and the city both have been very generous in providing those tools for students that didn't have that.
Right.
They're also, the importance really, and where we're seeing students having the biggest difficulty is just in logging on and then staying focused while they're on. So having that in-person support to provide that, especially at a time when they're on their computer so much, has really been the most rewarding and effective part of this program, is making sure that they're learning in a safe environment while parents are at work. They can feel comfortable with that, and giving them that interaction, because they're not getting that, the isolation factor away from their classes, away from friends.
Right.
It's really been a huge, huge benefit for the kids in the program.
A lot of parents, including myself, I've been worried about the lack of social interaction for my child. So this kind of provides them not necessarily a school environment, but a school-like feel.
Absolutely.
At least kind of being in a classroom with a bunch of different kids.
Right, in a socially distanced, obviously safe manner.
Right.
And that last part of the day, from about 3:30 to 6 p.m., they also get some sports skills, some enrichment activities, STEAM, arts and crafts. So they're getting all the benefits of a full day, interacting with other students. Our community partners come in, fire department will come in and provide some guest presentations.
Great.
We've had just so much support from the library district. They have been amazing. Like, we don't know what we would be able to do, really getting into the community and expanding our reach to other underserved areas, because our community centers are providing that support, and it's been phenomenal at those 6 centers. But the 4 libraries is something new for us. That partnership came about because of the pandemic, and it has been phenomenal.
Now, you guys are required to do some social distancing. The kids are supposed to be wearing their face masks, correct?
Absolutely.
So what is the availability in terms of slots or open slots at each of these centers? How many kids in each center or each library, and do you guys still have openings?
We do still have openings. We're currently serving about 736 families, 1,021 students in our 10 sites, but we do still have availability and open spaces in almost all of our centers and libraries. Of course, there is social distancing, there's limitations to that, but we make sure to ensure that everything is completely sanitized. Everyone's always wearing masks. We sanitize after every activity. We have a quarantine area at every site in case some child comes up with a symptom during the day. So we make sure that there's availability, but also we're following the guidelines on social distancing.
What has it been like to keep these masks on, especially the little ones? Because I think that is a concern as the school district talks about possibly going to a hybrid learning model. You know, how do you keep
a mask on a 6-year-old. How do you do that all day?
You know, I'm going to be honest with you. It was a real struggle in the beginning. Absolutely. The kids weren't used to it. It's something new for everybody. But over time, it's something that everyone's wearing them. We enforce it as much as possible. Again, they're kids, so they're gonna, maybe wear it over their mouth and not their nose, or they get tired of it.
They're gonna play with it.
They're gonna play with it. So in those instances, we'll make sure to keep them distanced.
Right.
And we just continually enforce that, this is a good thing you're wearing this, keeping you safe. And
Right.
so they're getting used to it the longer they're having to wear it, obviously.
In terms of food, do you all provide food? Is it bring your own lunch? How does that work?
Yeah, we do have a partnership with the school district, so their food distribution center does provide an evening meal.
Okay.
And a breakfast.
Okay.
We provide snacks. We were working with 3 Square, but because they closed during the pandemic, the city went ahead and is generously providing those snacks to the students. So they do get a free breakfast. They bring their own lunch.
Okay.
We provide snacks during the day, and then they get an evening snack to take home or eat there.
Okay, great. So let's talk about registration and also the cost and any financial assistance, because I know during this time you have a lot of families who are maybe spending the day looking for work because they've been laid off, and so they can't stay at home doing virtual school. They need this help, but financially it's a strain. So what is the city doing to help that?
We actually provide a lot of options around financial assistance. So the cost is a $20 annual one-time registration fee, and then it's $20 a day, and then you get a discount for multiple children attending. However, we do encourage all families to apply for our financial assistance. We have many funding sources right now giving us funding to cover the cost of this, including the city. We have the CARES funding, we have the Urban League, and some generous funders through the Mayor's Fund for Las Vegas Life. It's a simple process. It's a one-page application. They can go to our website, www.lasvegasnevada.gov/Vegas Strong Academy. You can apply there. All 10 of our VSA sites are offering in-person applications as well. It's a pretty quick process. Within 2 weeks, the parents or families will know if they've are income-based or household size is really the two ways that we're financially assisting families. And then if they have the free and reduced lunch at their schools, is usually a given that they'll get that as well. So it's a very, very easy process. Again, we encourage everybody to apply for it. And we do still have open slots, so we hope to get even more.
Absolutely.
attendance.
And is everything done on a sliding scale in terms of financial assistance?
We're making it even simpler. It really is just income-based. And the eligibility just kind of differs based on the site they're looking to. If there's availability there, we'll get them in and find a way to provide them with assistance if they can't afford it themselves.
Okay, and my last question for you. Do you have to book by week, by day? Can it vary from week to week? Can you purchase weeks, months in advance? How does that work?
We allow the families to purchase up to, I believe it's 2 to 3 weeks in advance, and also schedule their attendance about 2 weeks in advance. So we want to make sure, because some sites do have a wait list, you can register as much as you'd like. We can take additional registrations, but not everybody's coming on a daily basis. So we want to make sure that we're monitoring that we're getting all the families in that are on a wait list or that need just maybe 1 or 2 days a week. We monitor that on a daily basis to make sure we're getting the optimal attendance.
Oh, and I would assume you all have to shift suddenly if there is a hybrid learning model that we go back to when half of the kids are only there half the time. You all are having to adjust.
Absolutely, yes. So we're scheduling that right now just in case. We have a backup plan because we would have to open back up our Safe Key before and after learning once the schools open up. And we're located in 75 school sites for the Safe Key before and after learning. So we'd be operating that as well as a Vegas Strong Academy if we go to a hybrid model.
Wow, that's a big undertaking.
It sure is.
Well, thank you for all your work. We all appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure to be this resource to the community.
And before we go, where can people call and where can people go online to find out more?
To call, you go ahead and call 702-229-CARE, C-A-R-E, and then www.lasvegasnevada.gov/Vegas Strong Academy.
Okay. Thank you, Lori. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, thank you at home for joining us for Trending Vegas. Remember, you can get in on the conversation. Just follow us at City of Las Vegas and use the hashtag Trending Vegas. Also, you can catch us anytime on our Go Vegas app on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. We'll see you next time, everyone. Have a great day.